All right, all right. Welcome everybody to the weekly real estate talk show here with your friend Raul Luna. Welcome. I'm actually, from home office. So congratulations for everybody that is connecting here. We got Instagram. Welcome. We got Facebook. Welcome. We got YouTube. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Welcome to every single one of you guys. And as you could obviously, if you've been on the news or if you've been watching social media, it's sad, of the great loss that we just obviously got to learn, from one of the legends, and it's just shocking. I was in the computer in the morning doing my my studies, and it was interesting because when I heard about it, I was like, no way, this is sometimes we think that we're dreaming, and that is not the case, and that just reminds me of the so many things that we take for granted, and that if this happens to amazing people, to that it could happen to anybody, and that we got to be the best we ought to be today, because yesterday is gone and tomorrow is still not here. Okay, so welcome everybody. We got here, whoever's connected, welcome. And one of the things that I want to share with you guys, as you see the title, and the title is Massive Success, Massive Failures. And what I want to share today with you is precisely that, because oftentimes, I was with a good friend of mine, Mr. Arun. We were, for the very first time, I was trying Laotian food and Laos food, and it was interesting. We had a great conversation, and we were talking about the successes of people and why certain people succeed and other people's basically they don't. And it was really amazing to the conversation, and precisely I want to share with you some of the things, and that's that's going to be massive success produces massive failures. And what I mean by that, study any one of the greats, ladies and gentlemen, study anybody of the great ones, the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musk, the Warren Buffett's, Richard Branson. I mean, study the massive ones, the ones that have produced great successes. And it's interesting because whenever I see, once again, like the great loss that we just came to learn today, Mr. Kobe Bryant and his lovely daughter, the level of discipline, the massive success that they've actually, acquired, but it also comes with massive, failures. The reason why someone, has massive success is because they were willing. It's almost the opposite. Whenever you see somebody who's having tremendous, massive success, is because on the opposite side, they had massive mistakes, massive failures, massive pushback, massive rejection, massive of everything. The reason why they're so successful is because they've been willing to be, amazingly, massively, also willing to take rejection, and they've been willing to put blinders and just completely focus and do whatever it takes. So in real estate, how do I translate that in real estate? Well, very simply, you got to know your properties, the properties that you're investing in, and you got to know the market that you're investing in. You got to know the market and the properties. So it's very important to understand that, because, oftentimes we may know the property only, okay, but we may not know the market. And I think that if you want to become a great real estate, a real estate investor, you're going to need to learn, to be good at knowing your properties and really good at knowing your market. And let me obviously, break it up into pieces and bits here, so that you can understand. Basically, the way it works is basically it's knowing your property. Okay, so what type of character of the property, knowing the valuation of the property, how much repairs is the property going to need, and knowing basically if the property, if you're able to expand it or if you need to expand it, things of that nature, right? So you need to be really acquainted with the property in general. What are you looking to do with it? And then knowing your market, it's going to take you into understanding, for instance, how many properties in a given area are available. How many properties in a given area have sold for more than what they were selling for, or less than what they were selling for? What is it that buyers are looking? What is the trend of what buyers are buying right now? Oftentimes there's different trends and different cycles of the market. So understanding your market is going to be crucial. That's why with massive success will come massive failure, and many of us don't like to hear that, but that's part of it. Ever since I started this journey, I have seen the home runs that we've had and the great lessons that we've learned, and the massive pushbacks and rejections that we have actually come across and things of that nature. So just understand those factors, because sometimes I see new people, real estate investors, trying to get into this field, and it's interesting enough because when what you don't know can actually harm you. All right, what you don't know can actually harm you, and it will harm you if you don't pay close attention. To give you a short, a story, at one given point, we were investing in a property in San Jose, California, and this is not too long ago, where it was the typical property. There was 3 bedrooms, 2 bath in the typical neighborhood, and I'll give you more into how to distinguish on knowing the property and also knowing your market throughout the story. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to make sure that I'm measuring what is the average sales price on the typical property in the neighborhood. So that's important to know. Okay, so what is the average sales of the property that you're investing in the neighborhood that you're looking to invest? Crucial. Okay, crucial. Why? Because when you actually grab the whole, when you take yourself and elevate yourself at a 50,000 foot view, you get to see a different panoramic view. So on a property level, you want to make sure that it's not the biggest house in the entire community or city or county, unless you know exactly the purpose that you're going to be using that property for. Okay, you want to make sure that the property has the type of character that basically people are looking to purchase in the area. I've made mistakes. I made a mistake on a property in LA. I remember it was our very first rehab at the time. It was a Spanish type of style and character of the house, and then here came along somebody that told me, "Hey, Raul, you know what? Let me connect you with a designer." The designer said, "Oh, I think you should do modern style." So we went with a modern style, and we ended up losing money. Character of the property, when Spanish style or Spanish character for that specific area, it was much more desirable. People were willing to pay more for a Spanish style property than a modern style property. See, knowing those things, it was crucial. And that has to do property wise and market wise, knowing your market, knowing your properties. See, so just keep in mind, because massive success will come with massive failures. Whether you like it or you don't, leave me your message down below if you agree with that, and then just understand that today we're transmitting in English, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the English channels. I know that I see people connected here in Spanish. We're going to be conducting the Spanish one, just, as a side note, here coming soon at 6 p.m., 6 p.m. in the Spanish channel. So feel free to connect, obviously, in the Spanish channels as well. But anyways, going back into the story, so knowing the property. So one of the things that it's not the largest one, or it could be the tiniest one. That's fine. And if it's the largest one, just understand that the property aspect. You need to make sure that what is the market doing in the surroundings, that know exactly what they're doing, that are great at their craft, that they're selling consistently, and that, that basically they're on top of their game, that they know their market, and they know exactly what's going on and what's happening. Okay, so knowing your market comes to what is the active to pending ratio, what is the active, and things of that nature. So knowing your market is what do people buy more of? Like what is it that they want more of? That's very important to understand. Okay, and I want to take you back to another. Well, the LA story. The LA story was a very specific, true story that we lost money because we were not paying attention to what the market was looking for. So you got to know your market. You got to know your market. Now, guess what? That lesson, that specific lesson, made us, heck of a lot more, created more success in other areas, because now we're paying attention to what we were not paying attention before. Do you understand what I mean? So just understand that it's better to fall in love with the buyers rather than with the property. Because if you understand the buyers, like know who your buyer is, okay, as a real estate investor, know who your buyer is before you're starting to renovate or before you even buy the property. That's another thing that you need to know. And to know your buyer, it's really to knowing your market. And that's a separation. Once again, knowing your property is what is the actual property that you are buying, and what is it that you need to do to the property. Okay, knowing the market is you got to know who's going to buy it. You got to know what is the buyer looking for. You got to know, what are the potential multiple buyers that may be looking at that property. Okay, that is crucial. We just bought with some of the partners. What is it? Maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe at the most, maybe a week and a half ago, we just closed on a duplex in Alameda, California. And I told, as I was touring the property with my partner, with one of the partners, told them, I said, listen, the buyer for this property is going to be it's either going to be a couple that have parents that they want to live upstairs and they want to put their parents underneath, the duplex, and they just want to have a complete, 360 family type of environment for this particular property. Or it could be a 1031 exchange, and that may be a big word for some of you guys, but it could be someone that is selling a house, and is looking to, buy a 2 units or, a duplex property. And that's another type of buyer. Or it could be, somebody who is looking to live in one and get help with the rent from the bottom unit. So those were 3 different type of buyers. And that's exactly what I told them. And I told them, or listen, because the bottom unit has 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, it's pretty large. The top one is exactly the same square footage, but the top one was 2 bedroom, 1 bath. I said, it could potentially, it could be, but rare, it could happen that maybe somebody that has some sort of a business, it could be like a daycare or some sort of a type of business that they can use it for, or the like. And it was interesting because we closed a week and a half ago. We decided to obviously put it on the market, and boom, less than a week or about a week, it's under contract to sell. And guess what? The buyer, it was precisely what we were talking about. It's a family who's looking to buy it, and they actually have a business that they're going to put a business down below the unit. So it was one of those 4 different type of buyers. Because we knew, listen to this, because we understood who the buyer was, we were able to, we were willing to buy it. We were willing to act quickly. We were willing to close fast and to do what was necessary, right? So just understand that. Know your property, know your market, and love your buyers more than what you love your property. Especially when you're in real estate, for, the redevelopment side or the fix and flip side, where you're doing it because you're going to buy and resell as a real estate investor. If you're looking to do that, that's precisely what I'm going to, that's who I was talking to. Now, where there's massive success, there will be massive failures, and and the failures are as important as the successes. And the reason I say this is because if you don't fail, how can you get better? If you don't honestly learn, if you don't fail, you're not learning. If you're not learning, you're not growing. So just understand, whenever you see an Elon Musk, the reason he's so successful is because he has hit massive failures. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, anyone out there, you'll understand that, when I get to learn from them, not only I admire them, not only I learn from them, but, and a lot of people, like them, they may not know you or myself, but doesn't matter. They don't have to know you yet, but understand that I respect people with massive success when done right, because I understand they were willing to just take massive hits as well. Okay, so know your property, know the ins and out of the properties, from character to what is the average bedrooms and bathrooms in the area, what is the average sales in the area, know your market, what buyers are buying up in the market, what is trending, have exactly who, describe your buyer exactly. Otherwise, you will end up, you will end up learning some lessons. Regardless, you will learn some lessons, right? So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, today, Sunday, we get to basically every Sunday, right around about the same time, 5:30 Pacific PM, we are doing live, social media live, where we get to share some real estate, some real estate experiences and knowledge and wisdom, in finance, in leadership, in real estate aspect, business as well, right? I want to share a few things in closing. I want to share a few things, one of them being, hey, listen, I'll give you, some of the things that we're working on. We're working on doing a couple of studios, recording studios that we're coming up here very, very, very soon, maybe in the next three to 4 weeks. We were here today with Mr. Arun, that he's helping us set up to basically do a studio here where we're going to be conducting some interviews of ultra successful people. So be on, be on the look, be on the watch for that. We're going to be doing that, as well as we're going to be doing some great stuff. We're going to be sharing some great knowledge and information. So go ahead and share with others and follow us on the different channels that we got going on. We're going to be doing this for English, as well as we're going to be doing it for Spanish as well. Okay. And then another thing, I just want to share something funny. Yesterday we were playing Monopoly, and I learned this. I learned this strategy that I want to pass on, just in case if you do play Monopoly. A lot of people think that, by going into the most expensive properties, you're going to be able to dominate the game. And one of the things that I learned is that you go and buy the cheapest stuff in the board game. And if you actually put homes, if you put houses on the cheapest side of the board game, then guess what? Nobody else, once you finish the entire houses of the game, nobody else will be able to put any homes. And you get to control the game. So last night, I had the opportunity to beat basically some of my partners and investor friends, by just buying the cheapest side of the real estate and putting 4 houses on every single one. Basically, no more houses were left in the bank, so nobody else was able to put houses. Because no one else was able to put houses, we monopolize it, and boom, you get to control the game. So start wherever you are. But remember, one of the biggest mistakes that I personally did was thinking too small, too long, thinking too small, too long. So one of the advices that I'm going to share with you in closing is think bigger, think much bigger, much faster. Why? Because, you want to compress time. At least, you should compress time. You don't want to take a lifetime. Whatever is going to take 20, 30, 40 years is. Anyways, as always, congratulations for being here with me today. And just remember that you're one freaking real estate deal away from creating some massive success. All right. It just depends what is it that you're looking for. And we'll get to see you here every single Sunday, 5:30 p.m. So go ahead and share this. Leave me a message down below. What is it that you take? Or what is it that you would like to hear more about? Okay. What is it that you would like to, either learn more about? What do you take about what we share here today? As well as, who do you think that we should interview? Who do you know that is very successful that we should start this interviews here coming soon in our brand spanking new studio that we're about to build? So let me know down below and we'll get, working on it. So just make sure that it's people that are, sincerely with, ultra success that we could obviously bring in. And at the same time, you and I together, we get to learn together and grow together along with everybody else. So congratulations, hugs for everybody who's here with me, and we'll get to see you next Sunday. Thank you very much. Have a great one. YouTube, have a phenomenal one.